Hi, everybody, and welcome to our very first episode of The Dark Side of New Jersey. I'm your host, Eric Potts, and this podcast aims to bring you weird, strange, fascinating, chilling, scary stories from the dark side of New Jersey, hence the name. I'll give you a little bit of a background on me and what we plan to cover over the next few episodes, and then we'll get into today's episode. Again, my name is Eric Potts. I'm a native New Jersey born and raised here. Did spend 6 years away from New Jersey in my late teens, early 20s when I was in the Army as a military police officer. I got out, came back to New Jersey, got a job as a uh, security guard in a hospital for a little while, / morgue attendant. I have some stories about that as well. And then became a police officer, retired after 25 years as a municipal police officer. So I have 31 years in law enforcement under my belt. Became a stand-up comedian. I have been lucky enough to travel the country and perform at casinos and clubs all across this country, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from north to south. And I'm on air at New Jersey 101.5, the most listened to radio station in New Jersey. I've been blessed, and I'm very proud of all those things. And I'm thankful that I've been able to experience a lot of different things in life. Uh, what we plan to cover here on the dark side. And first of all, the dark side of New Jersey is a misnomer because it's not going to be creepy as far as my presentation. I'm going to be the normal me, but we are going to talk about some sensitive stuff. So we're going to have like a PG-13 rating on this podcast because some of the content we cover may be disturbing. Some of the photos that we display may be disturbing. But I don't plan on using really bad language or anything. So we'll keep it PG-13. But we have a lot of things to talk about. We have the some examples: UFO sightings. We have the Walk of Death, the Howard Unruh shootings in Camden in 1949, which was basically the first mass shooting in the United States. The John List murders. There's plenty of murder mystery podcasts out there that try to solve crimes. That's not what we're all about. While we may attempt to do it in some episodes, or we may talk about things in some episodes, not the main purpose here. The main purpose is to explore the folklore, the mythology, the rumors, the innuendos, the hauntings, the ghost sightings, the history, the dark history behind New Jersey. New Jersey is a fascinating state, and it has a lot of fascinating things that have happened. There was actually witch trials here in New Jersey. We're going to explore that. We're going to talk about those things. So that's what this program, this podcast, aims to do. But before I get into any of that, I need to kind of explain New Jersey to people who aren't from New Jersey, so they know exactly what it is, what we're talking about. Because people don't understand that what this picture behind me of the Pine Barrens is what a lot of New Jersey looks like. They only picture New Jersey through the opening sequence of The Sopranos, where they see the Turnpike and they see Newark Airport, that area up there, and the refineries and the tall buildings of the cities, and New York City across the river, and so on and so forth. When, in reality, that's only part of New Jersey. North Jersey has some beautiful mountainous areas, beautiful in the western part of New Jersey. Up near the Delaware Water Gap, and so on and so forth. And South Jersey has farmlands and wooded areas called the Pine Barrens. Again, the picture you see behind me. So New Jersey is very diverse, but there is a separation in New Jersey. There is North Jersey, there is South Jersey. For years, there was an argument whether or not there was a Central Jersey. That argument has been put to rest this year when the state of New Jersey declared, yes, there is a Central Jersey, and yes, we're going to spend some money to advertise it and get people to go, tourists to go there. So obviously now we can't say there isn't. There is a Central Jersey. And Central Jersey becomes a mixing part because South Jersey, where I'm at right now, which is part of Central Jersey, I'm smack dab in the middle. I'm an hour away from New York City, an hour away from Philadelphia, and about 3 hours away from Washington, D.C. There's a very large population in New Jersey. In fact, it's the most densely populated state in the Union. There's a lot of people that live here. There's a lot of people that commute here. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of things that happen here in New Jersey that you wouldn't imagine that there would be any type of creature or anything that might be lurking in the woods behind me. But the Pine Barrens are huge. The Pine Barrens are scary, and the Pine Barrens are creepy. But you have to understand that New Jerseyans look at New Jersey differently in the north and in the south. And I think it's always been that way. Because obviously, if you're in the northern part of New Jersey, you're near New York. And if you're in the southern part of New Jersey, you're near Philadelphia. So northern, you root for all the New York teams or the Jersey Devils, the New Jersey Devils hockey team. Otherwise, it's the Rangers, it's the Islanders, it's the Jets, it's the Giants, it's the Yankees, it's the Mets. And in South Jersey, it's Philadelphia. It's the Phillies, it's the Eagles, it's the Sixers, it's the Flyers, it's the Union for soccer. I'm a South Jersey person. I root for the Philadelphia teams. There's a Scrapple line. I call it the Scrapple line. If you know what Scrapple is and you've had Scrapple, you're probably from South Jersey. If you don't know what Scrapple is, you're probably from North Jersey. I happen to be at the Scrapple line right where I sit right now because 5 minutes up the road, you can't get Scrapple. You go to a diner 5 minutes up the road, you cannot get Scrapple. But here where I live, Scrapple. And South, Scrapple. Scrapple is a breakfast meat kind of invented by the Amish, very popular in Philadelphia and South Jersey. I happen to love it, but it's an acquired taste. But there's also arguments between North Jersey and South Jersey. Trenton, the home of pork roll, Taylor pork roll. We call it pork roll here in South Jersey. North Jersey, it's Taylor ham. And you can't argue with them. They'll fight you to the death to tell you it's anything other than Taylor ham. And South Jersey, same thing. Will fight you to the death, tell you it's pork roll. Stupid arguments that we argue amongst each other. But don't be an outsider coming in New Jersey and arguing with us because North and South will gang up on you because we're very proud to be New Jersey. So that's the background in New Jersey that I had to give you because there is a difference. And South Jersey is more rural. It's more, of course, there are parts of North Jersey that are very secluded, very rural. Don't get me wrong, but its majority is very populated. Now, all of New Jersey is populated, but when you get down to South Jersey, you see more farms and woods like this. We're known as the Garden State. So there's the difference. And as I mentioned, today's show is going to be about the Jersey Devil. Now, for me, the Jersey Devil holds a dear place in my heart only because it brings back childhood memories. Now, scary childhood memories, but as an adult, I look back on it a little bit more fondly than I did as a child. My father, who was born and raised in West Virginia, and through his service in the military, wound up here in New Jersey, loved to go camping. That was his vacation. Loved to go camping. So every year, and as a matter of fact, I make fun of it, camping that my father did every year in my comedy act. My father camped every year. It was his thing. And we'd go out into the Pine Barrens, Bass River State Forest, Lake Absegami. We would go out there every year in a tent. Well, one year, my father decided to rent a lean-to. If you're unfamiliar with what a lean-to is, it's basically half a cabin with nothing in it. It's a floor, it's a ceiling, it's walls, it's a door, it's screens for windows. There's no toilet facilities, no furniture, no nothing, no tables, nothing. Just a place to sleep and keep you dry, keep you off the ground. It was three steps up off the ground. I remember walking into that lean-to as you open that screen door on the side and looking across to the wall, the far wall, and seeing scratched in the wall, "Beware the Jersey Devil." Now, for me, as a 7-year-old, I could read that, but I didn't know what the Jersey Devil was. I had no clue. I had no idea what the Jersey Devil was. What's the Jersey Devil? And I asked my dad, and he told me, big mistake, big mistake, because he told the story to me, he explained to me, he knew what the folklore was. He explained to me what it was, what it looked like. And I could not stop thinking about it. And I went to bed that night. Now, I don't remember whether my father was asleep with me. It was my brother, me and my father. Whether my father was asleep at that time or not, I don't remember. What I do remember is hearing a lot of noise outside in the campground. Could have been my dad who hadn't gone to bed yet, or it could have been raccoons. I don't remember. I don't know. And I guess I'll never know to this day. But then I heard someone or something coming up the 3 steps, and I saw the screen door open, And in the screen door was the silhouette of the Jersey Devil, exactly how my father explained it to me, with wings. I saw horns, silhouette only, no detail, but I saw it clear as day. Now, whether or not that was my dad coming to bed and my imagination was running wild with me, or it was a nightmare, I don't remember. But vividly in my mind to this day, and I'm in my 50s now, I remember that Jersey Devil in the doorway. And I remember screaming and my father grabbing me and holding me and going, "What's going on?" I told him what was happening, and he lit a lantern and took me down to the campsite and said, "Look, there's nothing around. There's no footprints or anything like that." So it leads me to believe that it was probably my father coming to bed and my imagination just went wild. But again, it could have been a nightmare. Either way, in my mind, the Jersey Devil was now alive. And to this day, while I don't really necessarily believe in the Jersey Devil, I want to believe in the Jersey Devil. I want the Jersey Devil to be real. And so we're going to explore a little bit of the history, the background story behind the Jersey Devil, and we'll talk a little bit about the folklore and the celebration of the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil, very famous um, here in New Jersey, and I don't know if as many people talk about it as they did, but we're very proud of the Jersey Devil. The Northwest has its Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Loch Ness has its Loch Ness Monster. We, Jerseyans, have the Jersey Devil. So proud of it that we've named our professional hockey team the New Jersey Devils after it. We named a single rail roller coaster. In fact, the longest single rail roller coaster in the world when it was built, I don't know if it still is, in Six Flags Great Adventure, called the Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil lives on through the stories that people tell. The beginning of the Jersey Devil is somewhere around 1735. That's the year that's been attached to it. Whether or not that's the actual year, this is when the stories first started being told. Leeds Point, New Jersey, which is very deep into the Pine Barrens, especially back when there was no population, there was no paved roads or anything like that. Leeds Point, very deep into the Pine Barrens. The Pine Barrens are very famous for people getting lost, seeing things, and was a dumping ground for the New York Mafia, Philadelphia Mafia. How they got rid of things. You know what I'm talking about. Very famous episode from The Sopranos in which they were trying to get rid of a body in the trunk. When they opened it, he was still alive, and they ran away and they shot it. Remember, if you were a fan of The Sopranos, you remember that episode because it was so great. It was funny, and but it was shot in the Pine Barrens, and exactly what the Pine Barrens is known for. Anyway, 1735 Leeds Point. There was a woman named Mother Leeds. Whether she was there's differing stories, and I'll try to give you all the stories that converge into one towards the end of it. Anyway, one story has her being a witch, and another story has her being a normal person. But she was pregnant with her 13th child. And whether she was a witch or a regular person, she was tired of being pregnant. She didn't want to have another kid. So she cursed the 13th child to be a demon, to be a devil. Now, three versions of the story. The one I remember as a kid is the baby was born. It was frightening and evil looking. She threw it down in the basement and would throw it things to eat down there. And with everything that it ate, it would grow that body part or whatever. That's the story I told as a child. But that's not one that's heard a lot. There's two stories that are heard a lot. As a child was born normal, but developed the features that made it the Jersey Devil after it was born. The other version is it was born with all the features that made it the Jersey Devil. Either way of those two stories or my story, the creature flew up the chimney and out into the Pine Barrens, where it's haunted people since 1735. The creature is described to have bat-like wings, very large wings, but looking like a bat's wings, the head of a horse, the horns of a goat, the claws of a mountain lion, and the hooves with claws attached of a horse. Of course, horses don't have claws, but the Jersey Devil has claws on its back hooves. And blood red eyes and a blood-curdling scream. That's what it's described as. And it's out there in the woods now as we speak, haunting people to this day, allegedly. So the story of the Jersey Devil was born. The folklore of the Jersey Devil was born there in 1735. The people in and around the Pine Barrens. And if you go to anywhere, if you go to any place, and maybe in the Appalachians, the Smoky Mountains, you're always going to have some sort of folklore of something in the woods out there that people have sworn to have seen. So there were sporadic sightings from 1735 on. But one of the most famous people to have claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil, and which really lent itself to the credibility of the Jersey Devil's existence, happened somewhere around 1820. In 1820, Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, who had left Europe, escaped Europe after his brother was conquered and exiled, moved to New Jersey and bought a house, an estate actually, in Bordentown called Point Breeze. And on that estate it was in the Pine Barrens, and he was out hunting in the Pine Barrens on his horse. He was horseback riding. Not sure if he was with other people or he's by himself. That doesn't bring itself into the story. But allegedly, he came across the Jersey Devil. He described it as exactly as everybody else has ever described it: bat-like wings, horse-like head, horns, a split tail, hooves, piercing blood, fiery red eyes, and a blood-curdling scream. Scared him so bad that he turned his horse around and he galloped home as fast as he could and told everybody about what he had seen in the Pine Barrens. Now, whether or not he actually saw it, came back and said anything to anybody has been lost through time, but it's been passed down through the storytelling and the folklore. And so it's become part of the story. And of course, when somebody, a member of one of the most famous families in the history of the world, the Bonapartes, reports seeing the Jersey Devil, well, then it must be real. And so it lends itself to the credibility of the story. The sightings itself are really what lend itself to it, because there's no true physical evidence of the Jersey Devil. So we have sightings that lend itself to the credibility of the Jersey Devil. Flash forward. Yes, we have sporadic sightings again. Now we move into 1909, which becomes probably the most important year in the folklore of the Jersey Devil, because 1909, between the weeks of January 16th to the 23rd, I believe it was, 1909, there were over 1,000 sightings reported of the Jersey Devil. Why? Why suddenly in 1909 were there all these reported sightings of the Jersey Devil? Could it be a case of mass hysteria? Could it be sort of like the Salem witch trials, in which somebody reported something and then the mass hysteria had other people reporting it, and the notoriety and the wanting to be famous, people started reporting seeing witches and being under the control of witches in Salem, Massachusetts? Maybe the same thing happened in 1909, where people, the power of suggestion started getting people to see it. Same thing, I would imagine, what happened to me as a 7-year-old in that lean-to in Bass River State Forest, where my father told me about it. And then, of course, I saw what he described to me. So we could have the same thing happening. Was there tangible evidence? The only real evidence that kind of happened was there was a report of footprints in the snow that were hoof prints with claws in the snow. I don't know of any pictures that exist of that. There are some, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But there was so many reports of people seeing it that it brought so much fear, especially in South Jersey, so much fear into the people in the area, that schools closed down, factories shut down, people armed themselves and were afraid to go out after dark. I mean, there was truly mass hysteria. This is a fact. They did close schools. They did shut down factories. People did arm themselves. People didn't venture out after dark because they were so afraid of this Jersey Devil that was out there in the Pine Barrens, lurking and waiting. Now, the Jersey Devil's been seen in Delaware. He's been seen across the river in Pennsylvania, in North Jersey, but it's really a South Jersey type of thing. And that's where the majority of the mass hysteria happened, where people shut their doors, stayed inside. and were afraid to venture out in case they met the creature. Now, I don't know of any stories of the creature killing anybody, but I know of a lot of stories of the creature frightening people. In 1909, there was reports of a police officer who said that he was driving down the road. He looked up and he saw the Jersey Devil flying, and he called for backup. However, they did that in 1909. He called for backup, and by the time the backup got there, the Jersey Devil was already gone. But of course, using a police officer to tell the story helps its credibility. So, could that eyewitness account be a part of folklore? Sure, it could. It could just be a story. But other people claim to have been walking through the woods, heard a rustling behind them, turned around and saw the Jersey Devil in a tree with its fiery red eyes looking at them and letting out a blood-curdling screech that scared them so bad that they ran off. Again, here we are looking at another story, but no attack, nothing like that. No attack where somebody got some physical damage that they could show anybody. So skeptics started saying, that's either mass hysteria, figment of people's imagination, or it's just a misidentification of a known creature. Now, New Jersey has red foxes, and red foxes let out a blood-curdling, murderous scream. They sound like there's somebody being killed. And I'm right here, right now, when I edit this thing, I'm going to insert the sound of a red fox. Doesn't that sound like somebody's being murdered? That's what I hear it every night because I live near the woods, and I hear there's a red fox that lives out there who does that every night. And it's scary if you don't know what it is. An owl at night sitting in a tree, you look up and its eyes, if you catches some light, you can see the glow in its eyes. Heron. We have heron in this state. Large birds with very long legs, very large wings, very long necks. And when they fly through the sky, I swear they look like pterodactyls. What I would imagine a pterodactyl looks like. They're out there. So that could be mistaken as something. And of course, deer. There are plenty of deer. Oh my God, there's so many deer in this state. Could be mistaken. So there's a lot of things that could be mistaken as a Jersey Devil. But in my mind, in my heart, I hope there is a Jersey Devil. I really do. There's such a comforting thing to have some sort of folklore that we can hand down. Now, you know that there were parents out there who were telling their kids, if you don't behave, the Jersey Devil is going to get you. They do it now with police officers. You don't behave, that police officer is going to come over here and arrest you. If you don't behave, the Jersey Devil is going to get you. And so kids started spreading the rumors, started talking about it. And again, leading to its credibility through folklore. I don't know if there's a Jersey Devil. I want there to be. I hope there is. I hope it's out there to this day, lurking, ready to scare somebody, not hurt somebody, not injure somebody, but to scare somebody. And if you go deep into the Pine Barrens by yourself during the middle of the day, go down, drive down there, get out of your car, and walk down a trail for a while and stand out in the middle of the Pine Barrens and just listen. I bet you'll start to hear things that you think are the Jersey Devil. You'll hear things walking out there. You'll hear things screeching out there. You hear things rustling out there. And your mind will lend itself to believe that the Jersey Devil is real. I hope that we continue celebrating the Jersey Devil here in New Jersey. I don't want to lose that folklore. And it seems like we lose these things more and more every year with different people moving into the state, other people moving out, population dying off, stories aren't being told as much. Jersey Devil will forever live in the hearts and minds of true New Jerseyans and in our folklore. And it just shows you the power of storytelling and the allure of the unknown. Until next time. keep an open mind, and keep looking for the dark side.